Hey, it's the last video of semester 1. Woohoo! 3.5, polishing the higher level essay. Students will be able to write very clear, error-free language in an appropriate register and style. Let's do this. Oh, I know. Poor kitty has to keep revising, looking at the same paper over and over. It's rough, but it's worth it, because how do we score high on criterion D? You guessed it. We got to revise. We got to polish these essays. All right, in your Cornell notes, your first question is, how can I make my writing more precise and clear? Here's the best tip. Read it out loud, preferably to somebody else. You'll find all of the awkward phrases if you carefully read it out loud. The best essays are written by tireless revisers. Revise by polishing up those awkward moments. And the best way to find those awkward moments is when you feel awkward reading it out loud to somebody else. So try that. Another way to make your writing more precise and clear is to make sure every word and every sentence are really working for you. Do you really need all of those words in that sentence? Ask yourself that as you're reading through it again. Get rid of extra words. Use active working verbs. Get rid of filtering devices. I'm going to show you what these are in a second. These are needless structures showing how you originally got to meaning, but that are no longer helping you. And get rid of repeating words, anything that repeats. The one thing you do want to repeat, however, is the main authorial choice that you traced in your essay. Do use the same phrase when you are analyzing that. I think that is helpful. It shows the examiner that you're focused on that one authorial choice. And then I think also a phrase from the thesis statement that gets at meaning should be repeated rather than finding synonyms for those. Here's an example of how we could go about revising a sentence that has too many words. It's just wordy and it's awkward. So the original is, the effect that this has on the reader is that when Ward is talking about Roger's father dying and going to grow up without him, makes the reader feel empty and a sense of grievance. So we have some extra words, we have some awkwardness. I'm going to polish it up and say, when Ward describes Roger's father's death and his absence in Roger's childhood, the reader feels the emptiness and grief. I'm saying the same thing in a much shorter way. All right, how about this one? Here she shows her perspective about what Roger was thinking about and why he killed himself. Ward uses diction in the quote when she says, "But I like to imagine." The word imagine indicates that she didn't believe in what she was saying, aka the scenarios that she thought Roger was thinking about. All right, so we have some more awkwardness here, and we have one of my biggest pet peeves when you guys say the author uses diction. You are saying the author uses words. Okay? Diction means words. When I told you dits it, I meant you had to analyze, evaluate, and interpret a word, what it means. That's the denotation, and what feelings it brings up. That's the connotation. I did not mean for you to use the word diction in your analysis. It almost never helps your analysis. Okay, so get rid of that. It's a filtering device. It comes from the question of what kind of diction is used in this example. You're saying the diction is. You no longer need it. So here it is polished. Here Ward shows her imagination of Roger's thoughts and motivations. Ward uses the phrase, "I like to imagine," to show this is only her idea of what he was thinking or hypothetical scenario. I'm saying the same thing, just more concisely. All right, look at all of the filtering devices in this example. They're all in red. All of these can be taken out to make the writing more concise and precise. And it turns into something more like this. So read those two examples to see how much better writing can be made when we take out filtering devices or repetitions and make the writing more precise. Okay, so filtering devices, these are the needless structures showing how you got to the meaning, and you should avoid them. Take them out now. Anytime you use the word quote, you could probably take that out and the words that surround it. My line of inquiry, if you're actually using that phrase in the body of the essay, take it out. This blank connects to blank because You don't need that. It's a sentence frame that you were taught to help you get at meaning, but now that you've got to the meaning, you just state the meaning without the phrase, without the frame. Kind of get rid of that. An example of this authorial choice is, this is an example of the authorial choice because anytime you have the words authorial choice in the body of your essay, you're probably going to want to take it out. Just state the name of the authorial choice instead, like ghost motif. All right, how can I avoid errors? Oh, you're going to read and reread and reread some more because the best writing is by tireless revisers. You're going to watch those underlines from Google. I wasn't grading it before, now I am. Use Grammarly, the directions are in your packet. Show it to someone who you know has good editing skills. Here's a tip about punctuating correctly. The names of chapters for, if you're writing about men we reaped, need to be in quotation marks. The name of the book needs to be in italics. Use a dash too. Here's another tip about punctuation. Between words to turn them into one word descriptors. So for a long-running cycle, these two words are actually working as one describing word, describing cycle. So we put a dash in between them, ever-present theme. And look at this one, 2-year-old brother. Use a formal academic register in the essay. Avoid personal pronouns, I, me, my, your. Abbreviations, you saw AKA in a sample earlier, avoid those. Calling the author by her first name ever, even if she's 5 years old and she's a character in the book, she's still Ward or Jesmond Ward. You always use the last name. Slang like kind of, flat out states. You'd want to say explicitly states here. Pretty uncertain, just uncertain, get rid of pretty. Using the word mood, avoid it unless you're actually analyzing the feeling created for the reader, largely through the evocation of atmosphere through setting. That's what mood is, and that's the only thing mood is when you're writing a literary analysis. Same with tone. Avoid it unless you're actually analyzing the writer's attitude toward the subject matter. That's the only thing that tone means when we're writing a literary analysis. Okay? Otherwise, use the word feeling. Okay? That works better. Use MLA style for this essay. Here are some tips. Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, 12-point, 1-inch margins, 1 space after periods. Indentations should be with a tab key instead of space bar. Double space throughout, and you do that by formatting, not by hitting enter. And spell out numbers. This is MLA that are 1 or 2 words like 3, 15, 76, 1,000, 12 billion. Use numerals for other numbers with these. Use varied language to show your writing skills. A variety. So start your sentences in different ways. Don't always start with the. Don't always start with a noun. Make some short, make some long. Use 3 or more syllable words that you know, all right? Avoid using big words if you aren't sure of their meaning, because then it just gets awkward and not precise at all. If you see a literary device, use the term, show that off. Alliteration, juxtaposition, imagery, personification, use them. And repeat that authorial choice. I said this already, but if you're talking about ghost motif, don't change that term halfway through the essay. Always use that same language when talking about that term. And same thing with your debatable claim. Try to reuse a phrase from your thesis statement to add focus. All right, that's it. Good luck to you as you polish your essays and get ready to submit. Congrats, you're done almost.